I've always sort of been this way, growing up as a kid. I remember we went to New York City and I gave my $10 that I had for vacation to a homeless guy on the street, but my brother was a drug addict and it was a mental health issue. And he was out in British Columbia and he had a son, and he went to meet his son, pick him up from Penticton to Victoria to take him to his first day of school, and he dropped a bunch of letters in the mailbox on the way for, I think it was like a 5-hour drive, and they found his body in a park. He had committed suicide. He just couldn't handle the drug addiction or his mental health issues anymore. So he left his son waiting for him that day to take him on his first day of school. And it's always been an issue with me since then, and I think that we have to bring more awareness for the people that really need some help. And it's a sad, sad situation.
Not much bio to John, and that's about it. Not too much, yeah. You gotta know what you want by bio, do you know what I mean? Not from St. Catharines, don't live anywhere right now. And whatever, like, people took advantage of me, that's why I'm like this. A lot of people don't care. Downtown businesses, they don't want poor people around, they want to get them out of here. So most of the time they'll chase them away, do you know what I mean? They want your money to spend, and that's about it. They think they're better than the other people around here, but they don't want to help them. You know, so the way is just get rid of them. The bus station now has security there harassing people, just to push them out of the bus stations and that. And in the library, they don't let even people, the poor, sitting there in the lobby or whatever. You know, if you're running a library, you got to encourage the person to come in there and help them out. Do you know what I mean? You always get the thing of people chasing away. You never get the person come up and saying, well, is there something wrong here? How could I help you? Or, you know, is there a way I could help you? Or try and refer you? They don't. It's just chasing you away. Most of the times, like it is, they'll call cops to chase you away or whatever. But, you know, it's just sad for a city this size.
Hey, I'm Caleb Bergier. I work for Start Me Up Niagara, which is on Gale Crescent in St. Catharines. We work with people on the street, people in need, basically anyone with any problem. A lot of people have a stigma about downtown because there are prostitutes, there are drug dealers. It's a big blend between business people and street people. And a lot of people are turned off by the street people. They're intimidated and they're scared. But the reality is they're all human beings and they're all part of our community. And if you get to know one, you'll realize that they're just people. They're people that need help.
Watch the sunrise from a tropic island. Just remember when, darling, all the while you belong to me. Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm a musician, a street performer from St. Catharines. I'm just surviving. I live in the shelters, the churches, you know, out of the cold. There's no place to go if you're in some places, so in St. Catharines there are a lot of homeless people. Some people exaggerate it, but I don't know if it's an exaggeration. They say this is one of the worst cities in the country for that. Not always that you have real friends when things are the way they are that you don't really know. But people help each other a bit, and they can be friendly.
People don't talk to them. They just walk right past them, and they're people too. I think it's always, because I always said that about my brother, if someone had just said a kind word before he got into his, car that day to go pick up his son, and just said something nice, maybe that would have made a really big difference. It's just like, if you're nice to somebody, then that day maybe they can pass it on. If you're mean to somebody, then it puts them in a bad mood and they're not nice to anybody. If you just smile at someone or say hello, just like you would anyone else on the street, then they might realize that people do care about them. It's just, it's not turning a blind eye and pretending that it just doesn't exist, and then as it does.
My name is Larissa Leonard. I have lived in St. Catharines my entire life. When you walk downtown St. Catharines, that's all you see. Anywhere you look, you can see someone sitting on the street. And I think that people forget that those are people. They have a family somewhere. They could have had an amazing job. These people all have a past. And just because they're on the street, it doesn't mean that they're a nobody. And it's so easy to just pass right by them and be like, well, I work, I have a job, I'm able to support myself. But you don't know what battles they've had in the past.
So my name is Michael Stevens. I currently work as an addictions counselor and program worker for the Niagara Health System for mental health and addictions at the Men's Detox Center. In my opinion, I think homelessness is a big issue because if it exists, then that's a signal that something is wrong. When you have people that just walk around aimlessly without any notion of direction, we can't just say, oh, well, it's because they lack direction. Well, what's pulling them? Nothing. What's being pulled away from them? Well, a house or any well-being of any sort of shape or form. So it's a very important problem. The fact that we stop calling them homeless in the first place. When you start bringing up those labels, right, we've gotten to issues like autism, other mental health issues where we can say this is a person that suffers with autism, or this is a person that lives with diabetes, this is a person that overcomes schizophrenia. But we still, like, this is a person that suffers from homelessness. Well, we got a vaccine for that? No. We try our best to care, but that's just acting. That's just acting on blood on the floor. And like I said, we shouldn't be focusing on just wiping it clean, because still bleeding. Something needs to be stitched.
I think there's a conflict going on in the downtown of St. Catharines between businesses that are there to make money and people that are there to live. People live in the downtown. People don't just come to shop or drink or eat in the downtown. There's people that actually live day to day. And a lot of the times those people don't fit in because they can't pay to play wherever they are. So they end up getting bounced around between place to place. And we don't realize that this is their home. We can't just put a price tag on everything in the downtown, and if you can't pay it, then get out. Because that's only going to create segregation in our city, and that's already happening. And that only adds to the problems of homelessness and mental health and substance abuse, and no person is too low in society to help.
I'm Cheryl Marie Connor. I am currently 40 years old and homeless. I grew up with both of my parents being drug addicts. My dad fed me my first puff of crack when I was 13, and my mom hit me with my first needle full of heroin when I was 14. So I've been battling from the age basically of 13 until now, until I turned 40 March 11th. I've been battling with the addiction since then. My day-to-day breakdown is we wake up at the church in the morning. It's a different church every night called the Out of the Cold program. We wake up at the church, we have a coffee, we move on to St. George's, which is where they serve breakfast to the homeless and the needy every day. And from there, we basically have to find somewhere to stay out of the cold, literally out of the cold, until 6 o'clock at night when the church is open again for a hot meal and an overnight stay. So basically, we just hang out at the bus station or hang out at the library, go on the internet. We find friends' houses to go and shower at, stuff like that, because there's not a lot of resources. Shelters are full. There's not a lot of shelters for men. There's one, that's the Salvation Army Booth Center, and then there's Wayside Recovery House. And then for the women, there's the YWCA, there's Women's Place, and then there's the Y in the Falls. There's not many places for us to go, so there's no resources, and they need more resources.
I think that they can get a lot of the stuff that I would put into these kit bags, like deodorant and socks and toothbrushes and toothpaste and soaps. They can get a lot of that probably from Out of the Cold and Start Me Up and whatnot. But it's when someone, I think, gives it to them just walking by, just doing something nice. I think maybe that they don't have to go, but just someone off of the walking by and just says, hey, like this is for you. or I'm looking for so-and-so so I can give it to them, right? It makes a really, really big difference. Like bringing the clothes to that girl. And she's, she'll be waiting for us at 12 o'clock on Tuesday and go out of her way. But it's just offering. She doesn't have to go. Then they know that people care. And it just gives her one more step up.
My name's Tom Goldspink. I'm the owner of Tag Art Gallery in St. Catharines. I'm a retired consultant with Ernst & Young. I have had a long involvement with mental health issues in the community. I think that the homelessness that we see is principally a function of mental health. I think individuals who have various emotional needs and aren't what we would call people who they don't find our setup in society appropriate for themselves. So they have to find alternatives. And many of them find the solution in the street because they don't find group homes to be something that meets their need. Perhaps they're dealing with a form of mental illness where they're just happier being on their own. And that is one of the challenges with mental illness, is that it needs individual solutions, but society is not set up to commonly deliver individual solutions. It delivers at a community level what works for most people in the community. Homeless people aren't most people. They're people with very specific needs. So the community has to figure out how to meet those needs.
I think we don't talk enough about mental health issues, and there's not enough research. I know there's a lot of research going on, but we need to get people interested in each other and in each other's minds and each other's situations. And in order to do more research and to open up more experimental programs with mental health, I think that the public health system, they like to hand out a pill and send them on their way. And it just doesn't work. Circumstances in our life can come up that are so traumatic that they'll affect our mental health, and they'll affect the way we operate day to day and the way we are in our jobs. And we could lose our job or lose our family, and we could end up on the street. And you might not be able to work anymore and afford a lifestyle that you had before. And that will only add more to the depression. And it just becomes a cycle of, I'm not good enough for society. And a lot of people will fall into that trap and won't be able to get out because they don't fit. And I think that our society needs to stop thinking about fitting into the society and more about embracing the differences and embracing those that are less fortunate than us and sharing. Like, we have so much money and resources in this city, but they're not going around.
What we have this culture of where we look at the homeless person as, oh, why can't you get in your head? Why can't you do this or that? And just, well, there's where are these people mentally coming from in order to embark on that type of journey, to be self-sufficient, to be a self? Because right now we treat this as a situation, well, you need to get up on your feet, but the ground is quicksand.
We have clinics down here, meth clinics, and there's one right here that I suppose the government feels that they're doing a good thing for these people, when in fact it doesn't do it. There's 3 of them down here in the city. It doesn't really do anything for them. There isn't the resources that people need to actually survive and get them out of this rut. They don't help the people the way that they should.
You guys want pictures of something? You want to see addictions at its finest? Here you go. There's addictions. That's real life. You know what I mean? That's what you see on these streets. You see everybody, I'm in recovery now, but all these scars, that's from using IV drugs. You know? That's addiction at its finest in your face right there. You know, and it's sad. It's the extent that people go through to do things.
So for substance abuse, we have the services that we have here in the region. Those help teach skills, that help sort of put the person in the mindset of what's necessary, because in a way we're trying to sell sobriety, right? Or at my work, when you're on the streets, there's a whole host of other factors other than addictions.
Hi, my name is Caitlin and I'm a student at Niagara College. I would say that I have anxiety, generalized anxiety, but as of late it's more like fear based on health issues. I always advocate that, like, who cares? Like, there shouldn't be that stigma, but then for the first time being associated and actually like it being me, I was like, oh, I don't like that. Me personally, I have a really strong support system and I find that I think I'm a strong person, so this is happening for a reason. If it means to be spreading awareness like this, or to be able to relate to other people or to help other people, or even through my therapeutic riding program that I coach, like being able to give people different strategies that are riding that might be anxious, or you just never know why it's happening to you, but I think it happens for a reason. People need connection and people need relationships and love, and to be able to give back and have a sense of community. And that's where I think mental health, you would really see it diminish if more people, and more homeless people, or just in general, the impoverished people or people in poverty or anyone, if they had more sense of community involvement and love and connection and relationship, they would see mental health go down, or at least be dealt with in better ways,
When I was about 18 years old, I did some volunteer work with community care in St. Catharines. And I think that, unfortunately, we are a very selfish society nowadays. And people are so quick to complain about what they don't have. And what's wrong with the community that they're in. But they don't understand that you need to invest in your community in order to make it better. So when you're volunteering and when you're putting the time in and you're helping the members of your community, the community itself is growing and it's becoming stronger and it's going to be better for everyone. So I think that's super important to remember.
I would like to see more people from the community volunteering. The healthcare system, the formal healthcare system, I believe works as well as it can in the circumstances to provide needs at that level. But the care of mental illness isn't just an institutional one. It's got to be a community-based one and a family-based one. And so you really need people at every level to care. And even though their responses will overlap, the net result is if the person that needs the care is getting it at the individual level, then you've probably accomplished what you set out to do.
Relationships can go a long way, and getting to know the people that are strangers around you, they'll become friends, and you'll benefit from relationships, and they will as well. And a lot of the times that's what people with mental health need, is they need people that will spend time with them because they care and because they're their friends, and you're not going to give up on them because they're your friends. Something as simple as having a coffee with someone. And it might be uncomfortable at first because they're different than you, but you'll grow to love them and you'll grow to become friends with them.
I think about it all the time. And, again, I just think of my brother. You can just make a little tiny bit of a difference, then, because they're crying out for help. If you can just make a little bit of a difference, then that's an inspiration there. My name is Joanne, and I really wanted to promote an awareness of the situation downtown St. Catharines with mental illness, the homeless, the semi-homeless, the jobless, the hungry, the people that are freezing at night, or, super dehydrated or whatever in the summertime, and the lengths that they have to go to, rather than just what people see every day downtown here, and they just turn their backs on the whole situation.
I just think it's important that every single person that watches this takes one day out of their week, one day out of their month, one day out of the year even, if that's all you can, to go out of their comfort zone and help anyone who needs it.
Everyone needs to start loving people more. That's what needs to be spread, is love. I think at the end of the day, that's what needs to be promoted more.
Anyone can help just by getting to know someone, meeting a stranger on the street and getting to know them. Because we are all lonely, and we all need friends, and we all need to meet people. And you can't go through this world without friends and without relationships.
People with mental challenges and homeless people are members of our community. You can't kick them out because they live life differently than we do. You have to help them find a way to live life the way they need to live and do it with grace and respect.